Hello and welcome back. I'm Corey Milne, and in this video I'm going to be doing a bit of a character profile for who I think are going to be the main players in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In my last video I talked about the story and where I think that's going to go, so if you haven't seen that yet, go check that out because some of what I say in that is important for in this. Let's start with the good guys. First up we have Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. First introduced in Captain America the Winter Soldier, he quickly became one of Steve Rogers' closest allies. Like his comic counterpart, he doesn't possess any superpowers, except in the comics he can communicate telepathically with birds, but we haven't seen him do that yet in the MCU. He has a sidekick called Red Wing, which in the comics is an actual falcon, which explains the telepathic communication, but in the MCU it's been made a bit more grounded and realistic and turned into a drone instead. He's a former United States Air Force pararescue airman, which is where he got his wingsuit, but retired when his partner Riley died in combat. He was among those snapped away by Thanos and played a part in the battle for Earth in Avengers Endgame. And at the end of Avengers Endgame, he's given the iconic Captain America shield by a now elderly Steve Rogers, essentially gifting him the mantle of Captain America. But if you've seen my previous video, that likely didn't last very long. There have also been a number of shots from the trailers that indicate we might be getting to meet some of Sam's family who reside in New Orleans. Maybe they're helping Sam and Bucky hide out the same way that Sam did for Nat and Steve in The Winter Soldier. Next up we have James Buchanan Barnes, aka Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier. Former childhood best friend of Steve Rogers turned Hydra killing machine turned good guy again. So far in the MCU he's responsible for the death of Tony Stark's parents, which when Tony Stark finds out leads to the breakup of the Avengers. He's tried to kill Nick Fury and nearly succeeded twice. He's put a bullet through Black Widow just to hit a target behind her, and countless other on-screen MCU deaths. And that's only scratching the surface. Having avoided capture in the Winter Soldier, he went on the run to both stay hidden and try relearn who he was. After being tracked down by Steve Rogers in Civil War, he and a number of other heroes were arrested for being in violation of the Sokovia Accords. While being detained, he gets his Hydra brainwashing reactivated by Baron Zemo, breaks out, gets unbrainwashed when he hits his head as part of a helicopter crash, gets in a really big fight with Tony Stark where he loses his arm, then T'Challa lets him chill out in Wakanda while he gets some serious therapy and eventually a new arm, which helps him fight against Thanos' army in Avengers Infinity War. He gets snapped, gets brought back, helps fight in Thanos' army in Avengers Endgame, then at the end of Avengers Endgame sees his best friend in the whole world disappear and reappear as an old man seconds later. Why am I telling you all this? Because this dude has issues, and those are absolutely going to be a recurring part of the show. The Super Bowl trailer from this year has Sam and Bucky in couples therapy, for God's sake. Bucky's fragile state is going to be a major part of his character development in this show. Lastly, on the good side we have Sharon Carter, aka Agent 13. Great niece to Peggy Carter from Captain America the First Avenger, and remember that because it's... yeah. Carter was introduced in the MCU as Steve Rogers' neighbour in The Winter Soldier, but surprise! She was a SEALD agent assigned to protect him by Nick Fury. She helped Steve lead the charge against Hydra in The Winter Soldier, and in Civil War she helped Steve, Sam and Bucky get their gear back after escaping capture. At which point she and Steve share a wee smooch, which the sexual tension for had been building quite a while. But remember what I said, she's the great niece of Peggy Carter, who Steve Rogers was madly in love with and at the end of Avengers Endgame went back in time to be with, after kissing her great niece. Shades of looking Leia all over that. It looks like she's going to be working alongside Sam and Bucky, and she seems to have a thing for cryogenically frozen older men, so maybe she and Bucky will become the next MCU couple. The main villain of the show, I think, is going to be Baron Zemo, real name Colonel Helmut Zemo, returning after his appearance in Civil War. It's unknown right now if he was dusted as part of Thanos' snap or if he managed to live and escape the cell he was being held in, but I'm sure it'll come up at some point. He lost his family when Ultron attacked Sokovia in Avengers Age of Ultron, but blames the Avengers for their deaths and dedicated the rest of his life to bringing an end to superheroes. He actually succeeds in breaking up the Avengers in Civil War by showing Tony Stark that Bucky killed his parents and that Steve Rogers knew about it, leading to a fight for the ages and ultimately drawing a line in the sand for the Avengers. Now this is no easy feat on its own, but a lot of people believe that this is also partially responsible for Thanos' snap, because if Earth's best defenders hadn't broken up and were all together, could they have potentially stopped Thanos before he had a chance to get all the stones, or would they have just slowed things down? In the comics, Helmut Zemo's father Heinrich Zemo, big fan of H's in that family apparently, also went by the alias of Baron Zemo and sporting the iconic purple mask. Now it's unknown if that's going to play a part in this series at all, but with the extended runtime you would hope that they're going to expand the main villain's backstory as well as the heroes. The last two I've already pretty much covered in my previous Falcon and the Winter Soldier videos, and they're also the two we seem to know the least about in the build up to the show, but I'll go over them again just for safety's sake. They're both MCU newcomers, starting with John F. Walker, played by Wyatt Russell, a US Army soldier who it's believed has been chosen by the US government to be the new Captain America. Now, like I said, this is one of the characters we know the least about so far. I don't know if he's going to be given the title of Captain America or if that's going to be left as a legacy thing for Steve Rogers and he's just going to go straight to being US agent in the show. In the comics, he takes on the role of Captain America when Steve Rogers abandons it, and when he comes back, John Walker then goes on to become US agent. In the comics, Walker is like a dark reflection of Steve Rogers. He shares that same patriotism, but is willing to go to any lengths to prove it. He has a form of the super soldier serum in him, but it's not as powerful as Steve Rogers. So basically, just think of him like a Diet Captain America with a mean streak. Again, we know almost nothing about the MCU version of this character, so we're going to have to just wait and see how they bring him to the big screen. And last but not least, it's literally just because we know the least about them of anyone so far, it's Erin Kellyman's character and the Flag Smashers. The Flag Smashers are an anti-patriot group of enhanced individuals that we've seen in the trailers tussling with Sam and Bucky, and they actually get more of a spotlight in the most recent trailer. I've lumped Erin Kellyman in here because her character is called Carly Morgenthau, which in the comics, Flag Smasher's real name is Carl Morgenthau, so it's just a gender bend of that. But there's also rumours that she might be playing the comic book character Songbird, so there's still a lot of mystery around her character in the show, so we'll just have to watch and wait and see. In the final trailer, we see her grab Sam's Red Wing drone and break it on her knee, so I hope he's got spares. And that's it. Between the last video and this one, that's all I can tell you about this show that I know going into it. So I hope it's been informative, I hope you've learned something, and I hope you're more hyped for the show than you were at the start of the video. If you want to see some of the things that I've spoken about in these past two videos, go check out Marvel Studios Legends on Disney+. They're essentially like short hype packages for each individual character, and they've got one for Sam, Bucky, Zemo, and Sharon Carter, so you can see everything that's happened to them in the MCU up to now. I am absolutely buzzing for this show. When they announced the first 4 Disney Plus series, this was the one that I was like, oh, I am so excited for that, and it's nearly here. What about you? Are you as excited as I am? Do you have any favourites going in? Personally, I'm really excited to see Bucky's character development. I think he has the potential for the most development in the show, and I just think with everything that's happened to him so far, I think it's just going to be amazing to see him develop and grow into a hero in his own right. But like I said, that's all I've got for you. So thank you very much for watching, and make sure you're subscribed so that you can see all the reviews when they drop after the episodes. I'm Corey Millen, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.